Hello and welcome back to another short news video, this time to look at the patch 5.08 notes, with 5.08 now live on the public servers of Final Fantasy XIV. So what exactly was in this patch? As predicted, there are changes to some jobs and not a whole lot else. However, let's go through these, as I know some people will be interested to see exactly what's changed. Firstly, as they say, there's a change to free companies, where submersibles can no longer be deployed on exploratory missions when the submersible speed is 0. This was a bit of a bug, and if you've seen any of the pictures on Reddit or other social media, essentially there was a way of getting the speed to 0, which resulted in a very, very long return time estimate for when you send your submersible on a mission. Up to 12 years, I believe the picture I saw actually revealed, which is rather entertaining. It's quite a well-known bug, something that you'd have to do fairly intentionally to actually happen, but nevertheless they fixed it regardless. For the Mandeville Gold Saucer, apparently in Dome and Mahjong, the probability of waits occurring after a player discards a tile has been reduced. This is to attempt to speed up the matches considerably, and hopefully will result in that. In terms of housing is now available on Spriggan and Twintania on the European Data Center. These are the two new servers, and previously housing wasn't available, but now, thankfully, thanks to 5.08, you can now go and buy your housing. Of course, all of the houses that are any good are probably already purchased, as you would imagine from these servers. These are also not preferred realms, as they have been reclassified as normal servers, and the population of the game on European servers has drastically increased, as you know, recently, and honestly they might want to consider adding a couple new servers in the future, because honestly it's quite difficult to create a character on any server other than Spriggan currently, with Twintania currently set to crowded, which is rather entertaining. So now we're on to the battle changes, and we knew that these were coming, but we didn't know exactly what was going to be the details. So as I predicted, Ninja, Samurai and Summoner are the main focus, and firstly we have a section on Ninja. So the potency changes have been increased from 200 to 220 on Spinning Edge. We have Gust Slash increase, a lot of people predicted that, from 300 to 330 combo potency. Aeolian Edge, the potency of that combo has been increased from 360 to 400. The rear combo potency is also increased from 420 to 460. Shadowfang has had its combo potency increased from 200 to 220, and the damage over time potency has also been increased from 50 to 70. Armor Crush has had its combo potency increased from 330 to 380, and its flank combo potency increased from 390 to 440. And the last one is Bunchin, where they say the shadow attack potency has been adjusted based on the attack performed, with your melee attack potency being 200, your ranged 100, and your area attack being 100 as well. Hopefully this will address the issue in Party Finder with people locking out Ninja, but I wouldn't count on it. But these potency changes are a bit of a band-aid. I'm sure they're going to be changing quite a lot about the featured jobs today in these patch notes in 5.1. Apart from other help text changes, we can move on to Samurai, with Hakaze has its potency increased from 170 to 200, Jinpu has a 320 to 340 combo potency increase, Shifu is also 320 to 340, Gecko has been increased from 470 to 480, Kasha 470 to 480, Hingenbana, the damage over time potency has been increased from 35 to 40, and Hisatsu Kaiten, the recast time has been reduced from 5 seconds to 1 second, which is quite surprising, and Keishi Hingenbana with the damage over time potency increased from 52 to 60. Again, much smaller buffs there, but nonetheless these are potency buffs, so you should see quite a lot more damage coming out of your Samurai. Personally, I didn't think that Samurai was really doing too bad, but they're definitely going to be wrecking now. And finally, let's look at the last of the battle changes with Summoner here, and Ruin has been changed. The additional effect, if target is suffering from bio or miasma effect inflicted by you, Ruin potency is increased to 130 for one effect or 180 for both, has been removed, and the base potency has now been increased from 80 to 180. Ruin 2 has seen a similar change, and now the base potency has been increased from 80 to 160, the same for Ruin 3, 100 to now a 200 potency, and Ruin 4 a 120 to 260 base potency, which, as you can imagine, is yet again another band-aid that's going to make them much more powerful than they were previously, but doesn't address the actual mechanics of each of these jobs. They said they're going to be focusing once again on larger changes and mechanical changes to each job if they need to do so closer to or after 5.1, which will likely be October at this point. One of the last changes here before we get onto the resolved issues is that the appearance of the ground in certain areas of the dungeon Mount Gulg has been adjusted. This is to address the sort of invisible or hard to see AoEs on that white texture. If you remember near those demon wall ads that you have to fight through, visual impairments or just ordinary people like myself to actually see some of the AoEs sometimes, so they've actually changed that so they're much more visible, which is a great thing all in all. So they've resolved some issues, so we might as well go through these, otherwise it's going to be a very short video. They say the following issues have been addressed. Apparently there was an issue wherein treasure chests that appear after using a Zenurskin treasure map in Amarang did not appear in the correct location. Apparently these were sort of spawning in weird places, and now they should be where they're supposed to be. There was also an issue in the dungeons of Ligaya wherein the duty would erroneously end in failure under certain circumstances, so that's an early failure condition for some reason. That's also been fixed. There was also an issue when selecting a chamber door in the dungeons of Ligaya wherein it was possible to discern whether or not the door would open at the start of the cutscene, so you kind of got a bit of a cheaty idea of where to go. That's no longer the case. There was also an issue wherein the ingredients required for facet mail of fending were incorrect, so they fixed that. An issue wherein the graphics did not display properly when Darklight Cowl of Healing was equipped by a Viera or Hrothgar. Again, there's lots of little clipping and problems with Viera and Hrothgar since they're brand new, so it's going to take them a while to get through all of them, but this is the first I've seen of that. And there was also an issue when using direct chat with Kana input active, wherein copying text from the log window using Command C would ready the chat log. This was a Mac version only bug, and that's apparently been addressed. And lastly, there was an issue wherein your screensaver could turn on when playing only with the gamepad, which was also on Mac version. So you can imagine you're playing along, you're using your gamepad, and suddenly the screensaver pops up. That would be quite annoying, I would imagine, and thankfully they fixed that. Apart from that, they admit there's one last known issue that hasn't been fixed, where they say an issue wherein the number of materials received after desynthing facet mail offending was also incorrect, and that's, I believe, something they haven't addressed quite yet. In general, 5.08 wasn't anything mega, because nobody should really expect that from a 0.8 patch. Nevertheless, there was some quite interesting potency changes, and if you do have a ninja, samurai, or a summoner in your static, and you're progressing still on your savage progression, then this should see some number changes, and you never know, it might be enough to actually push you over the edge to get your clear. Either way, thank you kindly for watching. A link to the patch notes will be in the description as usual with all of the links I use, and I'll see you all next time.